Hello, I'm Raziel, and there is a theory the old ones became the Chaos Gods. Now, to be honest with you, there's not much evidence, but I have found something, and it's quite interesting. And it's a piece I want to talk about, and something I would like to ask anyway, whether or not you think the Chaos Gods did indeed were the old ones, I should say. Now, I'm going to read out the piece. It's very short. It's from the 3rd edition codex. It's insanely short too. Anyway, here it goes. And at this time, the brazen god of war cast up a great lord to lead the savages forth. The Book of War. Yeah, that's it. Now, it's quite interesting how it pretty much refers to Khorne. And the savages, obviously the Orks. Now, there were Chaos Orks, but they were pretty much gone and haven't really made any real appearance since Road Trader. And I don't believe they were actually in 2nd either. So this being the 3rd edition codex where, yeah, the Chaos Orcs were pretty much gone. And yet, this is the second bit of lore in the book. The first bit is a piece between the Imperium and two people talking the Imperium and Inquisition. So, but this is basically the first real piece. Now, it did make me think and look at the Chaos God pictures. When you look at Khorne in particular, he does have a very froggy mouth. If you look at his mouth, it is very wide. Not that of a wolf's mouth. I know it's often said that he has a snarling beast, but that is just it. It's a beast. But like I said, if you look at this picture here, you will see that it has a very wide mouth. Again, very much like a frog. Secondly, if you look at Tzeentch as well, has a very amphibious look about him, and the way his legs are is very much in a shape a very frog would swim. And finally, Nurgle is. He just looks like a fat toad anyway, so not hard to about. Well, Slaanesh is a bit harder to talk about because obviously of how she was created, and he still has that very much more newt or salamander on that broad front of amphibians, but the first three very much have that frog/toad look when you see it. I could be just making this up, and this is very tenacious. Secondly, we talk about when the warp was created. The warp was created during the War in Heaven, but there were no Chaos Gods. They had the Enslavers. The Enslavers obviously had no deity because no gods existed. Now, seeing the power that the warp had become and greatly affected Psykers, which the old ones were, and the old ones being super powerful beings, I could see that at least 3 of them would have gone towards the warp and therefore made it their home. And there's other connections too, which again, this is very tenacious, anyway. And that is, there is lots of planets within the warp, and the one thing that the old ones like to do was make planets. Now, the thing is, these planets have always been there. They weren't swallowed up by the Eye of Terror. They were in the warp, and they were just weird, yeah. Some planets are in there because, obviously, they were created and swallowed up by the warp during the opening of the Eye of Terror and the Eldar Krone worlds. And finally, the Chaos Gods do make their own creatures. And they do look a lot like, well, what they created before. They look human. They look 2 arms, 2 legs, etc. Where, okay, some don't, like the Beasts of Nurgle and the Flamers and pretty much anything from Tzeentch. But if you look at the ones from Khorne, they look like animals, just animals you would recognise. And you look at Nurgle, even like the Beasts of Nurgle itself, all of them do look like animals you would recognise. And to a degree, some of Tzeentch ones as well. And of course, all of Slaanesh ones do actually look like animals and people and things. Anyway, but we're going. Slaanesh is a difficult So, given that the God of War is mentioned within your codex, and I want to also emphasize this one, it doesn't say gods of war, so it's not Gork and Mork. It says God of War. there's, again, kind of emphasizes the singular, not a plural, so a single god. So what do you think? I'll read it one last time, just to, get you remembering. And tell me what you think down below. Did the Old Ones become the Chaos Gods? Is Khorne linked to the Orks in any way? And anything else? And I would also like to mention that, of course, just because a god creates something doesn't necessarily mean that sentient beings are going to worship their god, hence free will and sentience. We obviously have several religions upon earth. Even if one of them is right, it doesn't mean that the others are worshipping the wrong gods. That is just a statement. But it doesn't matter who it is. And of course, atheists exist. So even if a single god exists, the fact that atheists don't worship a god shows that too, okay? It's just like I said, it's just a question. So sentience doesn't necessarily mean they're going to worship that god. They aren't going to worship Gork and Mork just because Gork and Mork created them. Or vice versa, they're not going to just worship Khorne because Khorne created them. Anyway, so one more time, I'm going to read it and tell me what you think. Is it linked to Khorne? Do you think this is true? Or do you think the Old Ones are completely different and just buggered off? Anyway. And at this time, the brazen god of war cast up a great lord to lead the savages forth the book of war. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I love seeing your comments down below. I like replying. And, have a great day. Links to Element Games, Forbidden Planet, my comic, my t-shirts, and of course for Patreon if you wish to give me money too. As always, I'd rather you click the other ones first, then do this. I'm going to let the video play out to 8 minutes, just for the algorithm. Have a great day.